9:30, time to call the meeting to order. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have the approval of the minutes from the April 10th regular meeting, the April 11th, 13th, and 15th special meetings. We have had a chance to take a look at all these. Anybody have any questions about the minutes as presented? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have the fiscal officer's report. Linda?
Nothing today?
And we do have the current bills to pay. We had a chance to take a look at the current bills. If I have any questions about the bills? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the bills as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And moving on to the road department. Request to purchase a 2017 Dodge Ram 5500 dump truck totaling $71,560.
Sir.
Scott?
Yeah, this is to replace a 99 Ford 450 that we have. It's just getting up there in age, so it's part of the process we've started to replace the fleet and get it updated a little bit.
Does this have the Cummins diesel engine?
Yeah.
Good shot.
And we don't have to get it repainted because they actually have a blue that's pretty close to what we have.
Right. It's called Robin Egg, but it's pretty similar to the blue we have. And yeah, I know when we got the last one painted, it was an ordeal and it was pretty expensive. So.
Okay, good. Did anybody have any questions about this purchase? Because we get this at the state bid and pretty remarkable what we're able to buy them for actually. Any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the purchase of the 2017 Dodge Ram?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else, Scott?
No, sir.
Okay. Moving on to the planning and zoning. Jeffrey, we have a request to purchase a 2017 Jeep Renegade at the cost of $21,283.50.
Yes, sir. 2016 and 17, we've had in the budget for a $30,000 replacement for our vehicle. It's gone through some ups and downs. We're looking at some additional issues that seem to be the appropriate time to go for a new vehicle. Some transmission issues. We also have some ping issues, and ultimately, every time that we put it through the car wash or it rains, we have some engine issues. So there are a couple things that are going on there that seem to be appropriate to address probably with a new vehicle as opposed to continuing to put money into this 2006 Ford Explorer. Ultimately, again, we've gone through, there's a state bid. The state bid actually had a error in what the sports package was and identified an engine that does not exist. It's in between the light engine and the regular engine. And ultimately, the recipient of the state contract bid is willing to give us the 27A package, which is the larger engine, which is then comparable with other engines and models that exist out on the actual dealerships. And that's the discussion tonight. Ultimately, we're waiting until we had money come through for our April draw that now exists, so I have money that I could make a purchase. If I'm going to do a state bid purchase that's an order, that will not come in until September 2017. That's actually then for a little over $19,000. So I went to see a comparison for what is on the lot, knowing that I'm going up with some additional issues with the vehicle. Do I go ahead and get something on the lot?
$2,000 on that car before.
Easily.
How many miles on that thing?
And it has a little over 75,000.
Just one of those.
Yeah, it's just one of those that it had some wear and tear, and that's where we're at. So I'm looking for direction tonight to see which way you guys would like to go.
Was that a former police vehicle, or was that bought specifically for Zen?
It was a former police vehicle.
That's what I thought.
So we've had, just for everyone, we've had 3 vehicles over the past 10 years. 2 of those being Crown Vics. Thought that could be a good option for us until we continue to get those stuck on construction sites. Having to call a record to pull you out was not a good thing for zoning. This seemed to be a better option. We found that a 4-wheel drive vehicle is truly a better option for us to get on and off, and then to have some storage space in the back.
So what do you guys think? I mean, it's $2,000 on the money differently.
Right. Well, I like to spend township money the way I spend money for myself, my own money.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm kind of opposed to buying new vehicles myself, although, you know, there's always the debate. I did do some research with Consumer Reports, and I would be leery of getting this vehicle. It was ranked number 6 out of 6 subcompact cars evaluated. Reliability is much worse than everybody for the average, and that was true for 2015, 2016. Consumer Reports did an article last year on the 10 least reliable vehicles in the United States, and this vehicle was number 3. So,
What was higher, just for my understanding?
everything except Escalades and something else.
Well, as a comparable
Yeah.
model, is there something out there that would be better?
What they're recommending was save some money, same money can buy a bigger, better SUV. They evaluated pros and cons. I think there were 6 pros and 7 cons, but the pros were styling, brand image, options, manual transmission. The cons were powertrain, slow, vibration, poor shifting, restricted view drive, poor fuel economy, built in Italy.
So maybe we ought to go and look at a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge. I don't have a problem with that either, because I'm sure you get state bids on them too.
We do have that. We were looking at pickup trucks initially and then found this as an option that was in between the 2 options. So yeah, if that's the direction to look for some other, we can do so.
You good with that?
I think the size is ideal, so I would look at the Escape and the Equinox as alternatives. We've discussed the Dodge versus Ford thing with the police department, so I'm a Ford fan, so I'm not sure where the state bid will come in on that. I know the Jeeps are less expensive, but obviously if reliability is, because we want you to be able to keep it for 10 years.
Yeah, it's
So-
truly the purpose is to get out of an issue to get in something
Yeah, we
more
don't get
reliable.
into
So if that's an
another
issue,
Right.
Now, I
What
think
about you?
Chief said we've got an Explorer or Expedition coming up in 18.
Yeah, I got with Officer Bates today to see what our fleet was gonna be, and I looked, and it looks like I won't have one of those till 19. I'm gonna have probably 2 or 3 more Chargers coming up, and some of those are still 2-wheel drive, so they still wouldn't have the size, nor would they have the full drive capacity, so I think the Explorers are probably gonna stretch until 19.
Okay.
So for an SUV, 4-wheel drive, I probably won't have a hand-me-down till 19.
And there's no question whatsoever you need a vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do a little more research.
we'll do. We'll be back.
Also, we have tonight under planning and zoning, the Red Lion Sewer District study and discussion. Jeffrey?
All right, if this still is on, that would be great. Awesome. All right, for the past year, been doing some updates with the Red Line Hunter area, and ultimately it's pivoting upon how much sanitary sewer can exist in that area, how does it get to that area, and the like. So just show you the current land use plan, and I'm going to go through not their entire presentation because that's quite lengthy. The trustees were provided a copy of that. Go for it. Ultimately, the first idea was to do a gravity sanitary sewer. So all of that area, which is approximately 535 acres, which would give more or less 500,000 gallons per day of flow, was projected out by Warren County. And that would cost somewhere around $3.3 million plus. So that's all the breakdowns there. Ultimately, we're at the tail end of several different systems that we're going to dump into, and all of those systems for capacity reasons need to be upgraded. So when they did the Dix Creek improvement, we were not part of that flow area, so we were not part of that initial size. So that's why you have some things going on there that are a little bit hefty and some things that are not yet known. The next idea came back, is okay, we could actually do some gravity that would go to that dot where the proposed lift station would be, and then it would be a force main that would go out to the system. That brings in approximately 1,200 acres. Initially, it says it's over $1 million gallons per day, but there's discussion about truly it's going to be ratcheted back to more like 800,000 gallons per day, and that's a cost of, oh, there's where all the properties are, and it's a cost that's going to go over $5.2 million. So to get another 300, more or less, 100,000 gallon capacity, we're looking at another $2 million investment. The next discussion, which actually resulted from, after we got through everything at our committee meeting, hey, why don't you go to a couple different locations, one of those being, see, we do the best maps here ever. We're gonna look at everything that's in the triangle that's dark, to give you the same perspective where everything else was. That is approximately 150 acres, which is the area between 122, 123, 741. Historically, we've talked about, okay, this would be a town center node area. Warren County is still projecting out what costs would be for that. Option 4 is to include the area which we had in our land use plan where the gunlock properties are basically on both sides of 122 realignment, to include that in, and that goes up to about 190 acres. The discussion for me is, the direction ultimately when we started was, let's see what we can do about putting commercial in this area, industrial opportunities. So what we've been told since the beginning of time is, hey, you don't have things because you don't have sanitary sewer. Okay, is that 100% valid? I think it's valid. I'm not sure that's 100%. That is where the discussion has gone. So I've talked with Warren County Economic Development about, okay, if we provide sanitary sewer, how much sanitary sewer do we need to actually attract industry? Part of the discussion back was there's so much vacant industrial land on 71 and 75 that already has water and sewer to it. It'll be about 10 years before that fills up, if current projections. Before then we would have some capacity out here. So okay, well then what could we expect? Well, they offered one industry that basically had a small use of only what, 10 million gallons needed per day. And we can only get 800,000 gallons to the whole site. So I'm like, well, that's not really a use that we could establish there. So their discussion was, well, why don't you find some uses that are adjacent to or reciprocal with the gas industry and see what can exist there. So that led me to think, okay, maybe we should have some discussion with OEPA about what it's really going to take to have some on-site facilities. As has been discussed, UDF, when they came through, basically they're a 2-acre tract. They needed half of their acreage, so a full acre to be their mound system or the drip system, whatever we want to call it, and their other half is then their facility. So my thoughts were, okay, based upon square footage, there's got to be some good calculations. I got a hold of a contact at OEPA that was less than helpful, and so I went to the health department and said, can you help us out? And ultimately, the health department's only going to deal with 1,000 gallons per day or less. So our key players are OEPA, so I've been searching for a better contact inside that organization to truly give me a comparison of apples to apples. Because when Warren County did our projections, they went down to the intersection of Fields Erdel and Mason Montgomery Road, and when I pull up those chunks for true money comparisons, they're all underneath the TIF. So it becomes a mangled mess of truly how much money is being generated per square foot based upon use. So we're still trying to unravel that, but I wanted to ultimately to present this to you in public format so that you could ask some questions, put some further directions, and see ultimately where we could go. It didn't make sense to me, I'm going to move back to the land use plan, to put some proposed uses. Ultimately, the purple area is industrial, which we've had since the 60s. Is that still appropriate to hope and wait for, or is that better to go into a residential use that we know can occur, or a commercial use that potentially is on-site? And then the pinkish area is kind of a transition mixed use, which truly the county has in play, but we do not have a use classification. I could tell you it's going to be a this or that, so it's a combination. And then the orangish yellow color that's above the town center, that is a multifamily component. That's how it currently exists. It's a draft, as we've talked about. We want to see if we could get sanitary sewer where all those occur. And what occurred to me is that as we continue to branch out this size, we have more and more opportunity for residential that would potentially utilize the sanitary and put more children within the Springboro Community School District than what on-site disposal would do. And there's some opportunity within both of these plans for some bailout of existing systems as long as they are next to it. So like the Midvale subdivision of the 50s era, you know, those are half-acre or less lots that are gonna need some bailout at some time. It would do this, but it's not truly intending, no matter if it's a force main or a gravity system, to do anything outside of what region they establish as the boundaries. Historically, the commissioners were not wanting to extend too much into residential. They only want to extend sanitary sewer for commercial or industrial purposes. That's why option 3 and 4 are something that are still under exploration to see what that would be. But I don't know how to make the colors on the map equate to something that realistically we could do. There's going to be opportunities for private and public partnership. There's going to be opportunities for assessment and the like, but I'm not sure philosophy-wise by the trustees, you know, if you guys are willing to put money from the general fund towards these improvements for future and be on that side of development, or truly allow it to be laissez-faire as we've done in the past and just endorse that activity. So probably not going to get decisions tonight, but I wanted to present it in public forum, have you guys ask some questions, and then do some follow-up as things progress. So I'll quit babbling, and I'll turn it over for questions from you guys.
You know, in the past with sanitary sewers, we have not thought it was good use of public money to spend people that live in the northern part of Township, for example, their money to enhance the area in the southern part, or vice versa. We had that comment when villages of Winding Creek came in. Now, you know, maybe this is a different thing, and we have to look at it a little different down there. That has been what we've kind of said in the past on a basic level, that, so I guess initially I would say, yes, I don't know where we're gonna get our money, first of all, to have it. Probably nothing like the numbers that you see in here. You know, could we come up with $100 grand out of general fund? Probably. In a year, maybe. I don't know if we have to take it away from the parks to do that. Those are great questions. How do we get that much money?
Well, that's
To do any of these projects out there, and how far are the commissioners willing to go? You guys probably been talking about that in your meetings, and so you probably fill me in on those things.
Yeah, the push from Warren County Sewer was, let's do it as an assessment. You know, that's the way, option A, and that way everyone can start participating, people can be paid back through process and the like. And if an entity or a group of property owners wants to be the one to bring it, you know, then that is how we can have some safeguards so they're not left with the entire funding in the process. But I wasn't sure how much you wanted as a Board of Trustees to expand it out. Are you really wanting to just be a narrow focus for the maximum amount of commercial and residential, or commercial and industrial, or all three to occur? You know, if we go back to the idea of the Warren County Career Center, you know, it has a force main that is going to Lebanon, and it goes by many a subdivision, and no one ties in. It is just for that purpose. And if we wanted to bring, just as the discussion was when we had the corner of 73 and 48, let's just bring in a single line, whether it's from Springboro or from Montgomery County, to only service that area. I don't know if that's still where philosophy is, or if there's desire to have it be more people, so there's more opportunity to fund. But to me, the bang for the buck, I mean, you don't get much more for $5 million than what you get for $3 million. And not knowing the other $2 amounts, if it's $1 million or if it's 2.5, I don't know where those are at this point in time. Probably don't have enough to make a true decision. It's more of a, this is where I think we should start heading, get some more information.
What was the cost, and I know these are really rough numbers, the cost with the pump station? Was that the $5 million?
Yes, sir. It's 5.2 plus.
And isn't the county
going away from pump stations?
They do not like to have such items.
Right.
So
Well,
this is,
they don't say they don't work, they just don't, those are turned over to the county to maintain.
No, I know.
And they don't
Therefore,
want
they
to-
don't want
So they're.
right, they don't want that
But
maintenance
now
cost in the
they
future.
still take them, they don't have any choice, by the way. They will take them.
So it has
But
evolved.
they just complain about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the industrial side, that's a pipe dream. I mean, for lack of a better term, we're looking at land that's zoned that way that we can't service in the foreseeable future, whether it's 10, 20, 30 years down the road.
And it will be that long with all of the land along 75 to develop. It'll be that
Oh,
long.
yeah, I mean, and that's,
Which we've always said.
Yeah, no one is knocking on, Mr. Reedy is one of the larger property owners there.
right.
Who is now adjacent to a subdivision which, 6 months ago was adjacent to a additional industrial land. He's contemplating, is it truly worth it to keep it in this classification, or do I change it out because I'm probably gonna have someone offer me money for residence before I'm gonna have someone offer me money for industrial use. And that's, again, we're looking for guidance from the land use decision of if this is gonna be achievable or not, and I'm not sure with sanitary sewer, we're gonna get anything better for the industrial. So I would go back to 2 and 3, 3 and 4 as options, but I don't have the dollar figures to tell you this is a limited idea that may or may not be there. It may come out as much, or I don't think it'd be less than, but as much as doing the 500 plus acres, option 1. Because of all the upgrades that are necessary when we start looking at what uses could fit in there in their overall daily capacities that currently exist. So,
My thoughts are we want to see 3 and 4 once they finalize and
Okay.
get the numbers with them. It's obviously more impactful than just where we sit tonight. I mean, I've had discussions with the school district about not just our development, but the city's development and how that impacts, the entire area. So, but I think we also need to be in concert with those landowners that industrial is, even if it's complementary to the Texas Eastern. I mean, I doubt seriously that you're gonna find something that they can support. I don't know. Gentlemen?
It'd have to be a project that had a lot of money to pay for that sewer.
Exactly right.
And you're right, they're gonna have to be something that would directly connect with the Texas Eastern type project out there, or I don't see anybody coming there. Why would you wanna come out there and put a large pipe fitting, a pipe company, and there when you can put it on the interstate, put a sign up?
Right.
Now we have sewer. You might pay a little bit more for the land out
Land,
there,
yeah.
but you make it up by far with other infrastructure issues at this location.
Well, and ultimately, the value on the residential side is gonna be, as this all, obviously, we can't go any further north, so it's starting to come south, so.
Well, let's get those, see if we can get those numbers.
yeah, I'll get some more numbers. There are some members of our committee that are present. I'm not sure if they have some comments or want to
Anybody
address the board.
come on up and just come up and say your name, since we record this, we're going to do that. Give us your thoughts, please.
I'm Paul Pomeroy. I'm on one of the pictures you had there, on the left, Pomeroy Residential. So I'm right across the street from this downtown area we've been talking about. And also I'm part of the Red Lion Hunter Committee. And you probably read it in the newspaper, there's been a lot of talk about this idea of a downtown redlining now. So and with the overactivity going on, there's some momentum finally. I mean, that land's been empty forever. And between the Ober stuff, Otterbein, 122's expanding, it's all kind of converging where we are. So, now's the time to be getting serious about what we want to do. And I think if we at a minimum think of putting sewer just for the downtown business district, which is the lowest cost option, and the numbers that were floating around, we don't have all the final numbers, but it was less than $1 million to do that. It would require a pump station. to extend it over to the current sewer, which is at Shaker Road and 122. But that's the least disruptive, it'd be the fastest, you know, it's got a lot going for it. It is limited, so it doesn't address the residential around there, at least not yet. I don't know if they can size it to expand it, and those are some of the questions that we'd have to ask.
Yeah.
But if we could at least show an inclination as to what our intent is to provide septic to that, or sewer to that business district, I think that would give some of the people that have currently invested a lot of money, the majors and the gun lot folks, an idea of who they can start selling to. And I agree with all your comments that I don't think industrial's going to work. Commercial, yes. But for the gun locks, I guess we haven't really heard what their intent is now, and they've certainly changed
They've
their
changed
personnel.
leadership in the sense of where some
Right.
direction's going.
But
They're
they're
not
like-
talking with me at this point in time until I have some more information.
Okay,
So
well, they're the kind of people that
it's a
have the
chicken and egg.
contacts we would need to talk to see how, you know, if there's a market for this kind of stuff. If we could engage them in any way, shape, or form, that would, and they've got skin in the game. It'd be interesting to hear their take on whether it's even possible to think of commercial for this area, or what kind of commercial. But, you know, without some direction and commitment, the best we could hope for is some more UDF type stuff, where they're having to put their own septics in, and it'd be a pretty low density commercial area. And if that's what we want, well, then we need to make that clear.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else want to come on up?
I have an issue I'd like to talk about that doesn't concern Matt.
Okay, let's finish this.
Sure.
Anybody else?
I'm Mike Howard. How you guys doing?
Good.
I've just been involved, I own some land out there in Red Line, typically, as my family does, is that it's roughly a little over 20 acres in 4 parcels already, like 5-acre tracts. But it includes a lot of frontage, almost 800 foot of frontage there, right out of Red Line, just probably 3 doors down from the new UD farmers. And actually, I've developed some property in that area, similar to what Clearcreek's going to be. I developed the Noble Creek Farm subdivision, and it was all in big lots, and I got 2/3 full through that, and then that's when the Dix Creek project came in, the sewer to Hunter, and they wanted me to wait and go up that way, and I didn't. I wanted to complete what I started. So I did that, and didn't have to get into the sewer, but with that 20 acres, I've got, I'm just trying to determine, and it would be a long waiting game, I know if sewer was to come, but this final option, I think Jeff has done and proposed, you know, shooting that up there with the pump station, which would be the creek, would be the low point, that would be, that's what we own. And if that was possible, then to actually, with that 800 feet of frontage, I owned, that would be the opening point to the south side of Red Line to kind of loop it around Red Line, you know, possibly a loop that way. So, and the property is actually currently on the market for sale because it's my mother's property and we moved her in with me, and she's 86, so it's kind of like, you know, that part of it. So, I don't know how much longer I'll hold on to it before I just sell it in 5-acre tracts and let it become a horse farm or whatever, but if there is an option to make something nicer in Red Line with that land, we've had a couple weddings out there, and I've had all kinds of ideals to really complement the area and open up that other land that's, you know, probably another 30 acres that comes around in there with some larger tracts of land that comes off of 741. And mostly because the Great Cliff subdivision is going to kind of box us in. They're doing their final phase now and putting in another, I think, 100+ lots, and that will be kind of cul-de-sacing up in there and blocking off that land. So there'd be, but that is the township line. I think that's in Franklin Township. So it's just all the land we have is in Clearcreek Township, so it could just kind of give an opportunity, if it was anywhere feasible that this short section of sewer would come to play. You know, I might be open to be involved in that versus if it's gonna take years, I probably would just sell 5 acres and be done with it and make a wedding thing or something, I don't know. Because it is R1 open space. And if I'd done anything, I'd probably come back and try to do like a spin-off of what Country Creek's doing and make it Noble Creek Estates. That was my real vision. And in the beginning, is I didn't dream sewer would even be an option. It would all be big lots with fine homes. So I think I heard a couple of developers say when you get up the higher end home, they kind of support yourself with the larger acreage. And that's a, plus that way, rather than just quarter-acre lots with small homes on it. But that's just, and I think Gunlock holds the spot. It would be nice if he was communicating with us. Or if, I talked with Paul today, if even if another investor, I think that property's on for sale as well. And it would probably be a good investment for somebody to buy that property and start the process of trying to get a town center, which Greg, the planner, has put a nice plan together, and make it a small scale of Austin Landing, where you could bring a road straight across and have nice businesses right in the heart of Redline. So that's just my thought. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Anybody else have any comments before we move on to a different subject? I think what we'll do is kind of go ahead through the rest of the agenda, and then when we get down to, anybody else want to talk about that, anything else? We'll go, sir, before we bring you up, we'll go through the agenda and bring you in the comments level, if that's okay. Yes, sir. Okay. And anything else, Jeff, under planning and stuff?
Just to give you an update, last Thursday we had a planning meeting or workshop for parks. Everything was very positive, good reception. Once paperwork comes out from that, I'm going to send it to you all so you can see the composite PDF. From that will then become numbers. From that will then become a final product. So it's still in the works, but things are very positive.
Good, good, excellent, thank you. Fire District, we have Resolution 5015, a resolution to accept a donation from Kim and Magdalene Strong.
This is for their neighbor that recently passed away. We had made a number of calls to their neighbor's house. They would come over and just see if they could help, and when they dropped the check off, they made numerous comments about how professional our crews were and how nice they treated their neighbor in his time of need, and they just felt the need to make a donation to the fire department because they were so impressed with the job everybody did.
Very nice of them. Is there a motion to accept this donation with Resolution 5015?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else tonight, Sue? Okay. Moving on to the Police District, we have Resolution 5016, a resolution accepting a donation from LCNB to Clearcreek Police Department for National Night Out.
Yeah, I'd ask the board to accept their donation. Got a check from them while I was off for the last couple of weeks, and they had it earmarked for National Night Out, $100. So I'd ask the board to accept that to go toward National Night Out.
Okay, is there a motion to accept this donation with Resolution 5016?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have a request to purchase the security cameras and training equipment from HSI Security not to exceed $25,000. Chief, tell us about that.
2016, we applied for the low grant for this specific purpose. We were awarded $25,000 to pay for that, so it will not be township funds. It's coming from that low grant. The entire amount is earmarked for that process. HSI came in at $23,334, and then because it's a law enforcement agency, they gave a $3,100 discount, which dropped that out to $20,134. We have $25,000 to spend. Our IT guy said, I know we're going to run into some wiring issues, some additional things that may be in there. The next closest bid was almost $35,000, so it's ridiculous on that end. So if I could get a not to exceed the $25,000, just in case we run into a couple bumps, that's exactly what we have to spend anyways. That's what I would ask for, so if I could get an okay to do that.
Okay, anybody have any questions for the chief about that expenditure? Is there a motion to approve the expenditure of the low grant money for the security cameras?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw? Mr. Wade?
Yeah. And we have a request to purchase 4 ballistic shields from Protect at a cost of $23,000+.
This is a budgeted item again for this year. ballistic equipment has a shelf life of about 5 years. The current shields we have are failing. One of them is actually broken. And we're not going to take a bullet for that shield right now, being the guy standing behind it. So this is a state bid price, so it's the lowest we can get it. Protec could bid on that for $23,018.91. I would ask that we allow them to honor that bid and that we purchase those items.
I do have a question about that. The old ones, do they take those back and can they do anything with them, or do we just?
No,
they're not?
just have to destroy them. There's,
Yep.
yeah, the ballistic material is that the manufacturer gets a 5-year warranty on it, but there are other factors, humidity, the body armor that we wear is, even though it says 5 years, if you're a sweater and you work a lot of hot areas, then it may fail even before that. So, but the 5-year break point is where we try to address any issues. Current ones we have are older than 5 years, and they've just got wear and tear, and they've started to fail. So we get one that's actually broken in half. So,
Okay, is there a motion to purchase the ballistic shields?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else, Chief?
just another sad note, we had what we believe to be an overdose death last week. We're investigating, so we'll proceed that out, but all intent and purposes, it looks like it was another overdose death, a couple here in the last 3 or 4 months, so.
Okay, moving on to administration, we have resolution 5017, a resolution determining that the maintenance of lot 2 and Magnolia Farm parcels constitutes a nuisance.
It's my last meeting as interim administrator, and I didn't want to change the resolution numbers, so I put it under administration instead of zoning. So this is our age-old lot 2 in Magnolia Farms. I just wish somebody built a house on it so they could mow the yard. But that popped up earlier today, and we got it on the agenda late.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve 5017 and declare this a nuisance? Go
So
through
moved.
appropriate procedures.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Okay. Anything else from administration?
I think that's it.
Okay, anything under staff reports? Anybody have anything else? Brian?
Mr. Wade, Mr. Gabbard and I were speaking about medical marijuana, and recently, particularly some of the other political subdivisions that I represent, they had brought up whether a moratorium or a ban, and so what I'm simply doing is illuminating that for the board's attention, that this is an issue that's coming up. In terms of timelines, the rules for the cultivators are in, I think in a week or two. The rules for the processors will be in early September 17, and the rules for actually issuing licenses, or I'm sorry, you can't issue a license until September of 18. So you've got a little bit of time, but the statute, I've got it in front of me, 379629 allows the board, well, for that matter, any legislative authority, either of a municipal corporation or of a township, to either limit them or outlaw them altogether. You have any number of options. So, and some communities, both adjoining in Warren County, even in Montgomery, or in Hamilton County, have been passing moratoria or outright bans now. The moratoria I'm not a big fan of necessarily, because you can only do them for 6 months. They don't permanently address the situation, and you have to keep renewing them. Although after about the second renewal, you're potentially running afoul of constitutional issues. But again, that's a policy decision.
I think it might help us if we had some language, if you could give us some language on it, we could read and kind of study up on it.
I think what I do, Mr. Wade, is simply parrot the language of the statute and say, you know, if you were going to adopt a ban, I'm not suggesting you are, but I would simply say that no cultivators, processor, retail dispensaries shall be permitted in the township, or something like that.
Yeah, I think we got to at least read that and the pros and cons and talk about it. See what it is. I don't have a real opinion of it right now, but I guess we better start looking at that.
I discussed it with Chief Terrell earlier today, and it functions much like a pharmacy, at least the dispensaries. We know what the cultivation side of it would be, but and pharmacies created a serious number of challenges for our police force. So, those things being said, this, you know, it's an interesting debate. We don't have a lot of opportunities for them to put them, but there are some. 73 and 48 being an area. So,
The one thing that we've done, and not to make any work for Mr. Palmer, but what is, in some other communities, what they, yeah, right, famous last words. Somebody else can do it, it's a great idea. But, they can't be within 500 feet of a park, a school, a church, and I'm forgetting, one other area. But it's 500 feet from boundary line to boundary line. So, if you have a huge parcel, but you have a church or a park in that parcel, it's not from where the church or the school is being operated, it's from the parcel on which, so think of a strip mall. If a church is in a strip mall, it's from the parcel line, not from the wall lines. So it's within 500 feet of boundary line to boundary line. So, you know, no matter if you want to have them, you can't have them within 500 feet of those particular areas.
But Chief, I'm sure we'd like to hear your thoughts on it too, once we, don't need to do it now, but when he gets that language and we could listen to what you're saying. I know you've had experience in lots of things. I don't know if you've been experienced in this, it's all new, so, but I'm sure you've got some thoughts.
Yeah, I could go into it briefly, or I could wait.
Let's wait until we get the language, and we'll go from there.
would we do that by resolution?
Correct.
Okay.
And you might want to, you might want to put it in your zoning code, just as a separate provision, and amend the zoning, you might want to amend the zoning resolution in that regard.
Not to create more work for Jeff, but.
Well, there's opportunity for the updates with section owner business. That Deerfield Township now has a regulation that's different from what Westchester has. So there are some things that we could put together, an update, once you guys have some direction.
Have we heard anything from Springboro? I haven't, I mean, most of the local, the cities or jurisdictions, it makes the news about every time they either do the which I'm not for a moratorium, I can tell you that right now. I think it would either be a ban or it is what it is, one or the other. But they usually pop up, so.
Mr. Gabbard and I spoke briefly about this earlier today too, and how it affects personnel. At some point, I think that's probably gonna need to work its way into the handbook with all the drug testing we do.
Well, the nice thing is that the statute doesn't, it has no impact on what employers require or don't require, so that's that problem, as you raise, is accounted for in statute, you're right.
I'll contact Chris Thompson.
See where they're at on it.
Where they're at on it, just.
I would imagine that, knowing the climate in there, I would think that a ban would be where they would head, but who knows?
Just never know.
You never know.
But let me see what they say and we'll put that together. Okay. Sounds good, thanks.
Well,
Okay, anything else for staff before you? Yes, sir, if you would, come on up.
Hello, I'm Bob Combs, and this is my wife Julie Combs. We live on Bunnell Hill in the South Creek subdivision, the little isolated part on Bunnell Hill. There's 6 houses there, right past Binkley Lane. The problem we have, us and our neighbors, is when we're leaving our little private area there and trying to get on Bunnell Hill, especially coming north, we got about 150 feet line of sight. Then there's that dip that's completely blind. And so we look right sometimes, we look left, we look right, and then we, should I go, should I go? And then as soon as we go, there's a car coming over that rise. And sometimes those cars are going well past 50 miles an hour. And it's sort of scary pulling out of there. And we were just wondering if something could be done about the speed limit there, or maybe warning signs, hidden driveways. Because even though the speed limit is 50, people figure they can go 55 to 58 and be safe, without getting a ticket. And it's really hard for us to get out of there sometimes. I mean, we've had several close calls, and if there's gonna be an accident there someday. Hopefully, it's not a bad one.
Serious, yeah. Well, yes,
And that, nobody's complained about it before because they just got through building that area. You know, there's only one house there before, then there's two, now it's completely built. And I've talked to my neighbors and we complained to each other. I said, well, somebody should make this known to the trustee.
well, I think we can certainly take a look at it. I don't know if speed limit is the answer, but we can look at that.
Sure.
We can look at signage. I don't know if there's, I've seen the mirrors.
Yeah, well, Jeff can speak to it better than I can. We had that out by my place, with the hayride and everything, and they just finally made them move
We're talking about the mirrors, if they really are, they're functional enough to help, debatable.
I think Scott may have a better feel for that as a true device. I've not seen new mirrors.
We've had people come to us before with mirrors in the process of the board and their liability and retirement and all that was, it's a huge liability on the township if we put them up.
Right.
They have to be maintained, they have to be clean if something happens, and heaven forbid there's an accident based on the mirror. I know it was always pretty general throughout everyone in my circles is not to put the mirrors up, but they've allowed homeowners to put them up on their own. And most of the ones you see, there's one on Bunnell Hill down there now that the homeowners actually put up themselves, but we didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, we can certainly look at putting some dangerous intersection signs, or I don't know if that's the right.
Hidden driveway.
Hidden
Well,
driveway.
and the thing with the hidden drive signs is we can put them up, it's no problem, but they're not recognized by the MUTCO anymore. They took them out in the 70s. Same way with children at play, they don't recognize any of those signs anymore because they give people a false sense of security. So they don't even recognize them anymore. I mean, we can put them up, that's not a problem, but they're not recognized anymore. And to be honest with you, we could put 50 of them up and no one's gonna look at them. But I mean, we could put them up, that's not a problem, but they're just not recognized signage
To
anymore.
make people aware that, you know, that there is a hidden driveways there, people coming in and out, so we have to sort of angle our cars to the left and sort of get ready to make a run, because you just don't know what's coming over that, and it is scary. And if you go the other way,
Yeah.
like when my wife goes to work in the mornings, even at 5 o'clock in the morning, when she turns right out of our driveway, she'll look back, there's nothing coming, she'll look back and there's somebody right on her bumper. So it's speed is a big factor
We
there.
can take a look at speed there.
So I don't know. I think the only way to solve that would be
We can take a look at that.
slow the people down a little bit. The only way you're gonna do that is lower the speed limit.
Right.
Even at 35, they can be going 45, which
Well,
is better than 55.
Well, we can take a look at that.
Okay, appreciate
We'll do the
that.
study.
Thank you.
See. Okay, sure. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything? Okay, so a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yeah.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Wade?
Okay.